What's going on, guys? It's your boy at the TCP Live, giving you Major League Baseball. It's been a while since I've talked Major League Baseball. So, as many Major League Baseball fans would know, the trading deadline has come and gone. The last 53 minutes. But, I wanted to wait a little while. I wanted to wait, you know, see just in case some last second deal, like, oh yeah, we've got to report this happened, And there were some, I wouldn't say a lot of big deals, but there was a few big deals. For example, Ryan Dempster, for all you Chicago Cubs fans, you guys just lost your best pitcher, Ryan Dempster, to the Texas Rangers for 2 minor league prospects. And a lot of people thought, Dempster was going to end up with the Dodgers. It seemed like the last second he might head to the Yankees, but, the Rangers, I guess, saw a deal they couldn't refuse. They said, hey, you know what, let's send these prospects to, Chicago for Dempster, and Chicago's like, alright, let's get the two. So, Ryan Dempster, a guy I think a lot of people are surprised has had a really good year. He got injured in the middle of the year, but he came back and still pitched, pretty decent and whatnot. So, now he's going to be heading to the AL West, particularly Texas, the Rangers. And it's an interesting move because, you got Ryan Dempster, who's pitched in what I would call kind of like a pitcher's ballpark in Wrigley Field, to all of a sudden, going to Texas, which a lot of people know, in the summertime, in, Arlington, is kind of, how do I say this, hitter's ballpark, because all of a sudden the home runs just fly out of there, the fly balls just all of a sudden, just end up in the stands. So, it's just see what happens, if Dempster is a successful pitcher in Texas like he was, and Chicago. But nonetheless, a very good deal for, Texas. They needed pitching. They couldn't just, I think, in order for them to win the World Series, they need more than just, Yu Darvish. Kobe Lewis is done for the rest of the season. So they needed more pitching into that, the rotation. I think this was a pretty good move by them too. And Roy Oswalt, he got lit up like a candle last night on ESPN. So, and also the Boston Red Sox acquired Craig Breslow from the Arizona Diamondbacks for Scott Podsednik and Matt Albers. Now, as a Red Sox fan, I kind of wondered at first. I was like, why did we do this trade? Why did the Red Sox acquire Craig Breslow and trade away Matt Albers, who's actually having a pretty decent year? His ERA is kind of low, in a 36-year-old outfielder, which, no offense, Arizona, you don't really need another outfielder. You have Parra, you have Chris Young, you still got Justin Upton, who, you guys have been teasing to trade for the last, 2 or 3 years. Still, nonetheless, I think it was still, I thought about, I'm like, oh, well, the Red Sox need another left-hander, in that bullpen, a decent one. Brussels had a, not too bad year. And, even though the Red Sox didn't get a starter, it still means Franklin Morales, who's having a, was doing pretty good in the rotation, was doing good in the rotation, who went recently back to the bullpen. Looks like now he's going to be back in the rotation. So, makes sense, and also, let's see what else. Oh, yeah, and the Pittsburgh Pirates. A team that, they needed, they thought, okay, maybe we'll pick up an outfielder. Necessarily, they didn't. They picked up Gabby Sanchez, who, just a few years ago was kind of Rookie of the Year, but, it's kind of an interesting move, because I'm thinking, Gabby Sanchez has not really done that good in Miami. It's one of those pieces with the Marlins that they thought, okay, we can, with him and a bunch of other guys, maybe we can have an all-star dream team, but, that hasn't been the case, really, for, Gabby Sanchez this year. But hey, I guess the Pirates needed to make a move, and, heck, why not? And also, again, Miami Marlins, they just traded Reyes like half. I'm seriously thinking to myself, okay, what's next? Jose Reyes is going to be traded next year? Like, seriously, they trading like everybody. Okay, the Marlins send, who did they send? Freaking, okay, Mujica, I don't know how to say this guy's name. Freaking Edward Mujica, there we go. To the St. Louis Cardinals. And, it's funny, because the Cardinals, I looked at them and I was wondering, I'm not really sold on their bullpen, but, Mujica adds a little, decentness, decent, how do I say this? they're sending a decent reliever into St. Louis. So that's not too shabby. What else happened? Okay, and here's the one that got my attention because I kind of saw this coming a mile away. Hunter Pence. For all you Philly fans, here comes the Philly fans. If you're a Philly fan, I don't know if you cried already, but you're gonna be upset if you don't know. Hunter Pence traded away. Now remember, Hunter Pence was a guy they added last year from the Houston Astros, so that they could, for example, just in case a Chase Utley or a Ryan Howard got hurt, he was their run producer, and he's had a pretty decent year, not too bad. He ends up in San Francisco. He's gonna help Melky Cabrera, in that outfield depth. For Nate Scherholtz, Seth Rawson, and Tommy Joseph. Two prospects right there that I just mentioned. So, the Giants, they're like, what, Dodgers, you want to make all these moves? We're gonna end up the moves too. And I'm telling you, the NL West is really good right now. Yeah, Diamondbacks were trying to fight back, but it's the top two, the Giants and Dodgers. It's really interesting. And then speaking of the Dodgers, they had another Phillies outfielder. First it was like, oh, Pence is gone. Now Victorino is gone. That's right. The Dodgers picked up Shane Victorino, and so now you got Victorino, you got Kemp, and you got Ethier. Whew, that's a pretty good outfield if you ask me for the Dodgers. And now, I know at first, Victorino was struggling, but recently, he's picking up, he's starting to redeem himself. He's getting a little bit of power, driving a little bit of runs, and he's getting those stolen bases now. Now he's up to, what 20-something stolen bases, so he's doing pretty good, stealing some bases, running around the bag and whatnot, so, a pretty good deal. And then, Jonathan Broxton, a guy who was doing a pretty good job in Kansas City, closing out games, is now going to be the setup guy. And he got traded to Cincinnati for 2 prospects with the Reds. When I first heard about that, I'm like, he's not going to be the closer, is he? And they're like, no, he's going to be the setup guy. Chapman's still the closer. So I'm like, oh, okay, I understand that. And that was basically it for all the trades today-wise. But late last night you had moves like the Rangers picking up Giovanni Soto for minor league pitcher to the Rangers. Rangers and Cubs made a deal, and I thought to myself, what the hell? To me, if I was the Rangers, I would have stuck with Torrealba. Why do you want to pick up Giovanni Soto, a guy who's literally batting like 184 or something? That's horrible. To me, if you're batting under 220, you're struggling this year. I mean, it's like someone picking up Brandon Ryan, who's batting like 180 from the Seattle Mariners. It's like, okay. But the Pirates, they did pick up, another outfielder. They got Travis Snyder, excuse me, from the Blue Jays for Brad Lincoln. The Blue Jays needed pitching. Pirates needed an outfielder. It worked perfect. And the Blue Jays got rid of another outfielder. Again, they needed pitching. Got rid of a pretty decent outfielder in Eric Thames for Steve Delabar. And then, again, the Mariners, they're just getting away players. Leon Landry, Logan, and Balcom, they traded those guys away for Brandon League. And, it adds to, the Dodgers bullpen. Obviously, it's not going to be closing, but, he's probably going to be one of those guys who's going to pitch in the 7th or 8th inning, so it's not too bad. And this is an interesting move. The Cubs getting away some prospects. And what did the Braves get in return? Paul Maholm. And at first I was like, Paul Maholm? But Paul Maholm's actually, I think allowed like 1 run or less in the last 4 or 5 starts. So he put some quality starts in there. And Reed Johnson add some depth into that outfield. Not a bad move. I'm sure you guys already know about Francisco Liriano and Zach Greinke. Those guys getting dealt and whatnot. So, anyways, a pretty decent trade deadline if you ask me. Not too bad. I think some teams did get better. And also, too, the Yankees got Casey McGee, just in case you guys don't know, for Brad Lincoln, because I can see some of the Yankee fans going, oh, you went about our moves, we got Casey McGee, But, Casey McGee brings some of the, not too shabby. I kind of knew the Yankees were going to make a quote-unquote big move, Because I know people are saying, oh, well, the Yankees usually make like a big move, a big blockbuster move at the trade deadline. You know, apparently the Yankees were fine with their starting rotation. They didn't need to make a big move. And, you know, I don't know how much they can make a big blockbuster move with that payroll that they have. You know, it's like, okay, do they want to go over the salary cap and whatnot? So, you know, and plus A-Rod out, what, 6 to 8 weeks? And now Teixeira, you know, having an MRI, he got hurt last night against the Orioles. So, you know, they needed some infielders, and they got one in Casey McGee, who didn't he originally start with the Brewers, and now all of a sudden he got the Pirates, and I said to the Yankees, it's like, this is the only thing I hate about if I was an athlete, is like being traded back and forth. Like seriously, it's like, oh, I'm moving my family to California, oh, I'm moving to Texas, oh, I'm moving to New York, oh, I'm moving to Florida. It's like crazy. Anyway, that's it for me. The TCP Live. What do you guys think about the MLB trading deadline moves? Who are the winners, who are the losers, and whatnot? You got it.